Um, let's talk instead about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 6,
Yeah.
the finale, the end of this chapter, leading into maybe phase 4. And I guess now technically we are into phase 4, as we are now getting reports that Captain America 4 is in the works, and it will be about Sam Wilson as Captain America.
Yes.
So that's a thing. I wonder if Sebastian Stan will be playing a sidekick, a partner, a co-worker, or will appear at all in said Captain America 4. But
It would make sense if he did.
it would also make sense if he didn't.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see which way they go on that. But in terms of episode 6, we were both kind of not really high on episode 5,
Yeah.
which ended at, we get the cliffhanger at the GRC summit where they're going to vote to just put all the borders back and relocate people en masse around the world. And of course, that meeting is what our protagonists, our antagonists are trying to stop, the Flag Smashers. And it really is a new Hydra in terms of organization. This loose network of people of like mind working behind the scenes, because they're everywhere
Yes.
in this. And one world, one people is the new Hail Hydra.
Or, well, I mean, I guess it depends on. I mean, I don't know that they're necessarily motivated in the same way that Hydra is. But
No. Just from a narrative standpoint, this is where we're at, because what this whole episode revolves around whether or not the Flag Smashers are in fact Hydra terrorists, Hydra, terrorists, or whatever you want to call them. They are clearly the antagonists to our protagonists. But of course, this whole episode builds to a point where we address that. But leading up to that, we get the appearance of Sam Wilson in his Captain America wings.
Mm-hmm.
Teased at the end of episode 5, designed and built by the Wakandans. So Captain America's suit is not even made in America.
But it's okay.
But it's okay.
They made it better there.
Yeah, I know, right? And I'm sure it wasn't cheaper. It was not done in a sweatshop. But so we get Sam in the red, white, and blue wings, with the shield. Captain America-ing himself nearly to death in a couple points. But he fights Batroc the Leaper again, who wants his revenge. Sharon Carter makes an appearance to help
Ish.
Sam and Bucky, because he calls her in. Sam calls her in, and she sneaks into the United States even though she's wanted. And they figure that out. John Walker makes a return as Captain America with his homebrew shield. And this is really one long fight scene, punctuated by a speech at the end, and then a lot of feel-good imagery after that.
Well, except for okay.
Well, except for the post-credit scene or the mid-credit scene, which we'll get to. And yes, we are gonna spoil some crap if you're listening to this right now, because it's now 2 days. Well, this is day 3 that the episode's been out, and everything's already been spoiled. So we're not going to go out of our way to spoil stuff for you, but we're just going to talk about the episode. So Sharon shows up. They figure out that they're not trying to get into the building with the GRC. They're trying to force them out and kidnap them. and hold them hostage. John Walker shows up after their vehicles are stopped, and he's still manic in this episode. Even he's trying very hard to still be Captain America because he still believes in his ideal of what Captain America is supposed to be.
I just think, I don't know. I think it's just he wants to be part of the party.
Well, part of it, but and I will argue that at the end when he's very excited to be back, he's back, and we'll get to that part. But that's because yes, he's insane. He's psychotic. He's not all there. He's a couple of sandwiches short of a picnic. However, whatever euphemism you would like to use, but that's all based on his sense of duty. So I give him that understanding the aforementioned he's a nutbag. So but then he shows up. I think it was funny how quickly Sam and Bucky just kind of accepted him following them around afterwards and during the follow scene.
See, and I thought it was terrible writing.
I said I think I said amazing. I don't even remember what I said 10 seconds ago, but I said it was amazing. I didn't say that was good or bad. I could have said weird. I did find it totally appropriate that when Sam goes, they split up and Walker just takes off in one direction. Bucky immediately goes, I got this, and follows him like he knows something bad is going to happen. So at least they weren't just leaving him completely to his own devices. And I guess if he's going to be there, you might as well know what he's doing. Might be the only thing they were thinking. Because they didn't really have time to mess with him. They had bigger fish. So maybe that played into it. It's I'll give you the writing argument, but
I think they had. It feels like they had a list of things that had to get done by the end of the series, and his. I talked earlier about the redemption of him, and whether or not they were going to do it. Well, they kind of did.
They tried.
And it's not very good.
No, that one was not very good.
It's just like, okay, at the end of this needs to have happened.
Right.
And it felt like rather than putting a lot of thought into how that could or should happen, they just made it happen.
Yeah, it was very clunky. That was a very clunky sequence. Any other fallen hero that might have worked. But I don't think that when faced with the choice of Carly's getting away or armored vehicle is about to fall into a huge construction pit and kill everyone inside, I don't think that John Walker makes the right decision there. They let him make the right decision, but I don't think that anything leading up to now actually justifies that decision. However, that is immediately followed by Sam's super Captain America hero moment, in which he completes that particular action, and we get the first of the what do we want to call them? The messaging lines. When they're out in the crowd and the one younger guy is taping everything on his phone, and the older black man, he goes, "That's that Black Falcon," and he goes, "Nah, that's Captain America, not Black Captain America, Captain America." Good message, but that's only the first of the things that we've hit up to this point throughout the series, and it is all important. That all leads up to Sam's speech at the end after. How did you feel about the the little Mexican standoff there? How did you feel about that scene and the revelations contained therein?
Well,
the standoff is Sharon Carter, Carly Morgenthau, and Batroc the Leaper. and everyone has a gun pointed at somebody.
Yeah, I don't think there was. I don't know that was fine. Whatever.
That was
But
fine.
actually,
Whatever.
that's kind of how I feel about most of this actual episode. Is like most of the scenes feel a bit long. A lot of the scenes are not really that logical, or it feels again like they had to get a bunch of stuff done. They had, I don't know. It feels like this whole series is a bridge, and nothing, and hardly anything else. That it's in many ways non-essential. That we're going to get probably the bulk of the information that is in this through other things in other movies, and this would just be kind of like interesting sidebar stuff. And that I don't. I mean, that seems like a lot of water treading, and I didn't. I think ultimately I didn't particularly like the series. I don't know that it was terrible, but it feels like they did a lot of running around just to have people change costumes.
Okay, that's not an unreasonable assessment. We get okay, so they did get to the end, and Sam's in his costume. And did you notice that Bucky's just walking through the security forces and they're just kind of getting out of his way?
Yeah,
it's like, dude, he's not supposed to be doing that. A, and two, it's still the Winter Soldier, and everyone knows who he is. So, but it's like they were just kind of accepting that he was working with Sam. So that was weird.
But there's a lot of that stuff in this.
A lot of just cuss.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of maybe what undermines this more than anything. There's just cuz.
Just cuz. So let's talk about what the series really led up to then at this point. And the series led up to after Carly is stopped and Sam comes down to the crowd and is thanked by all of these GRC council members and senators and all the people from the other countries that are going to cast the vote. And they, of course, are doubling down on what they were going to do. And then we get Sam's speech, which has some good stuff in it, by the way. But it sums up the philosophy of, not the philosophy, the message of the entire series in his speech about race in America and race and Captain America. The one thing, the best part of that speech, in my mind, is when, it's right after he says, I'm a black man wearing the Stars and Stripes. He goes, what don't I get? He goes, I'm out here. I got no super soldier serum. Nothing. He goes, all I have is a belief that we can do better. And that is like, I want that to be the message that people take away. We can do better.
Yeah.
Not you can do better.
No, it's we. But, I mean, he's, he has, in effect, done the right thing. But he wants to make sure that the right thing leads to another right thing rather than
something that will create the next wrong thing.
Well, I mean, it's, they're, thank you for saving us. And he's like, well, but just so you guys know, I'm not exactly with you on this.
Right.
In fact, I'm opposed to a lot of what you're about to do. So you better think twice before you do it.
Right.
Sort of stuff, which is okay. I don't know. I don't know. I'm really just not very high on it at all. I just think it ended in a way that I just went, great.
Well, I did not really care for all the feel goody stuff back in Louisiana with his family and Bucky being down there, and that was terrible writing.
Like his, but almost like it's like the sister, Sam's sister, was like important for about half of the series.
Right.
And then they replaced Sam's sister with the former black super soldier.
Right.
And then so they get to the end, and it's almost like, well, he has to have hangout time with both, right?
Right.
And I mean, it's just, I just didn't, I just didn't buy into what they, in the end, I didn't completely buy into what they did. I don't think, whatever they're setting up is necessarily ruined by,
right.
what they've done here, but I didn't care for it.
Well, and so okay, let's discuss one of the elephants in the room then for what going forward. Is Sharon Carter going to be the big bad, or not the universal big bad, but is she going to be the big bad now that we know who she is?
Well, they're going to put her in a Doctor Doom outfit, and we'll go from there.
Oh my God, maybe she's a Skrull.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
which would lead into Secret Wars. Not Secret Wars, sure. Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
Secret Wars. I'll watch that movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a very comic booky thing, So it's hard for me to be like, well, that's she would never do that. Well, no, it's a comic book. Of course, she would do that.
Right. It's exactly what would happen in a comic book.
It's exactly what So I guess I don't know how I feel about that. I guess I'll wait and see. But
it still would have been ambiguous enough had she not made the phone call at the end.
Which was, again, I mean, it's just like, why are you spelling everything out?
Yep.
I mean, we know there's going to be more story. You believe a lot of other strands dangling.
Fact.
And things unanswering. So why are you nailing that one down?
Yeah.
I mean, I think her smirk walking out of the building.
That would have been I was about to say, if they'd have ended it with her walking out with that little smirk.
Yeah.
And that would have been that, and it's like, well, is she in and she's still doing her job? Is she in and she is actually the villain? But you don't know. But then she walks out and makes the call. I mean, yeah, they could still backpedal, but that's not the call you make with that. That's not how you show that.
Well, no, and it's like, let me tell you what I'm going to do.
Exactly. So it's like, oh, okay, got it. She's the power broker, and she's the villain. Got it. They've now locked themselves into that.
And she is going to steal weapons.
And she's going to steal weapons and everything else. So it's just like, Steve would be terribly disappointed. Peggy would be terribly disappointed in her, which all leads me to believe either she was broken during, after Civil War when she was on the run. She just physically or mentally broke, or she is in fact a Skrull. And I kind of like the Skrull idea for Secret Invasion.
I guess that would be preferable,
right?
To so sure. But I don't. I mean, at this point, I don't know. I mean, I don't know where that. I mean, I think this, basically what 4 hours or whatever it was kind of lacking in something that really matters. Because I think you could have, this doesn't get made, you could still have, Sam be Captain America.
Right.
You could still have, I mean, all the stuff that happens. You didn't need to necessarily show, yeah, literally, you didn't necessarily need to show. And so where did we get? What did we get done? We got, I guess, an introduction to a couple characters.
We got go all the way back to the, when we talked about episode 1, we got the buddy cop movie that everyone wanted, which was Sam and Bucky. We got the buddy cop movie. But
it's not very good.
Well, and a lot of time they're not together, which is weird. So, and they're not buddies, they're coworkers. They're two guys. But that's what we got. And I think it's good. I think this could have been Winter Soldier, level good. if they'd have polished the scripts a little more and cleaned up the story just a little bit, I hold fast to the fact that The Winter Soldier is the best of the films because it's the best film and it happens to have superheroes in it. This could have been good. I think to compare The Falcon and the Winter Soldier to WandaVision, it's both necessary and unfair.
Yeah.
But since you kind of have to do it because they're putting them together for us, I think I enjoyed watching WandaVision more, but I think The Falcon and the Winter Soldier is more directly related to more pieces of the MCU. I think WandaVision is going to have a bigger, area impact. You know what I mean? It's going to hit an area and blow it up in the films. But I think Falcon and Winter Soldier is, I think it's got more reach. I think it goes in more directions. Now we can argue how well it did that, but I think the plan was for it to have more fingers going out than WandaVision did, because WandaVision was focused on moving Wanda into the Doctor Strange supernatural universe.
Sure.
And that's going to bear fruit, but I think immediately Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to have more effect on the films going forward, especially as we've now already announced Captain America 4 is in the works. So, like I said, I think I enjoyed watching WandaVision more, not just for the way they put it together, but
yeah. I mean, I might have reorganized WandaVision a little different, edited it a little different,
right?
But that's a personal thing. But I feel like it was a far more. We learned a whole lot more about those characters than we learned about Sam and Bucky,
right?
And maybe it's because we already knew Sam and Bucky pretty well. Yeah, I mean, Bucky's sort of coming to terms with everything.
Mm-hmm.
That felt like, well, I just scratched that name off the book. We're great. We're good. Sam gave me that speech about going out and not just fixing what I did, but helping other people.
Do the work. Yeah.
Yeah. It just felt like everything kind of just happened, and I don't know. I guess I wanted there to be something stronger there. They don't really. I mean, they're dancing around the whole racial issues and never, address it other than, oh, well, now he's accepted. He goes out, he does it. No, look, the people actually do like it.
Right.
And I think there's some truth in that. But I also think it was kind of too simplistic, or I don't know what. And
well, I think it's too simplistic. Not from because here's the difference. There's a difference between how the government and the officials see that move, and how the rank and file see that move. Being or John Q. Citizen, if you will, how they see that move, because people see the actions of Sam Wilson and respond to them.
Okay.
And the government sees the image of Captain America almost as a branding issue, as opposed to a results issue, which you would think would be backwards. You would think the government would want the results issue. But if they wanted the results issue, they would never have picked John Walker. They went with the image issue. So I guess in the end, what it is that, people can't dictate who your heroes are.
Yeah.
The people are going to choose their own heroes. And that's what happens by the end of this series, is that the people have chosen Sam Wilson as Captain America. They've chosen Sam Wilson, who has chosen to be Captain America. And I think that's a distinction. They've chosen Sam, not Captain America. Had they chosen Captain America, they would have been behind John Walker. But that's not what they got. They chose Sam, who has chosen to be Captain America. And that's what Bucky and Steve both wanted. They wanted Sam to choose to be Captain America. and it took him 6 episodes to finally do it. Well, 5 episodes to finally do it. But I think that's the difference. I think is you can't force people to believe in heroes that they don't want to believe in. I mean, I guess you can. Most communist countries tried to do it, but that's I think it's a subtle difference, but I think it's an important difference. So that's me.
Yeah, I just
so you're not so do you put WandaVision ahead of this?
Oh, by far.
By far. Like I said, I'm not as down on this as you are, or I'm higher on this than you are. But I still think WandaVision is the better show. I think mostly because it took more chances.
Yeah,
which is part of it.
Different. It was radically different, and to be honest, it felt like something you couldn't necessarily do in a movie. It felt like it needed to be what it was. I mean, it was the format was entirely part of, that it was necessary.
Right.
Whereas I felt like this film, could you have edited this down into something 3 hours? I kind of think you could.
You could, yeah. I think you could have you couldn't have edited WandaVision to 3 hours.
No, you couldn't.
You couldn't have.
I mean, and just everything that they were doing in there,
right.
You just couldn't do it. But yeah, I just felt like, maybe this could have been done in in a tight way. Could have more. I don't know. It just felt like there's a lot of things that could have gone different and better.
Yeah. No, I don't necessarily disagree with you. So, so that is where we will leave the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That's done. Next up for Marvel is Black Widow in July.
When's Loki? Isn't Loki fairly soon?
Is Loki June or May? Oh, it could be Loki. I stand corrected. That's an excellent question. That will be June 11th.
Yeah.
So, and Black Widow is
July
9th. Yeah, so I apologize. Next up is Loki, which is still in endgame cleanup mode. So that really is going to be filler. It's going to be fun narrative filler, but I don't think it's going to move us. I don't know how much of an impact it's going to have going forward, but I think it's going to be a fun little diversion.
Yeah, we'll
see how that goes. And then Black Widow, which will be in theaters, yay team, and we'll see how that goes. So we'll be watching for both of those. We've got some more films coming up. Ryan and I talked about those before we came on, and we'll be getting to those in the next few days, and watch for those. So till we get back to you, I'm Mark. That's Ryan. Bye, Ryan.
See you guys.
And we will talk to everyone later.